Have you always wanted to play Enhancement Shaman, but maybe you find it a little bit too hard? Well, then maybe this guide is for you. In this guide here, I will tell you how you can play the single button assistant together with Enhancement Shaman and still do pretty decent damage. In this video, I will be talking about the stats, the talents, and also showing a little bit of the rotation, and also a very quick dungeon gameplay glimpse. I'm going to try something new with this video here, making it shorter compared to the other guides I have, so let's see how that goes. When it comes to stats, I always recommend having the highest upgrade level / eye level. For example, if you take a look at my helmet here, you can see it's a champion item actually there. You can see it's a champion item. That means every time I get an item upgrade level that is lower than champion, which is for example adventure and veteran, I would never equip it, even though the secondary stats is better. Always go with the highest upgrade level because it's going to give you so much more main stat like agility, which is just major. Then if you actually find an item that has a higher upgrade level or the same upgrade level, if it's the same upgrade level, then you have to look at the secondary stats, which you can see here. And if it's a high upgrade level, then you always go with the highest upgrade level. And when I say upgrade level, it's adventure, veteran, champion, hero, mythic, and so on. So for example, if you get an item that has the same upgrade level as the one you already have, then we look at the secondary stats. First of all, we have Mastery. Mastery is nice because it gives you higher chance of triggering Storm Surge and Wind Fury weapon, and also increases all your fire, frost, and nature damage you deal, which is pretty nice. And Mastery is a, you can say a cheap stat compared to Versatility, so it's nice to have a lot of Mastery because it just basically increases a lot of your spells damage, and also it increases the chance for Storm Surge and Wind Fury weapon to trigger, which is very nice. Then we have Haste. Haste is nice because it increases the attack speed, spell casting speed, it lowers the global cooldown, and when you're using the single button assistant, you get a global cooldown that is 25% longer. So it's nice to have Haste to also reduce that, which is pretty cool. Then we have Critical Strike. Critical Strike increases, it has a chance to make it attacks double damage, which is pretty cool. And then Versatility is the last one, which is increasing all your damage and healing and decreases the damage you take. The reason for why Versatility is at the end is because it's a very expensive stat. Imagine, for example, you can see here right now I have 378 mastery, but that actually gives me 42% in total. Or for example, we have crit 200, which is giving me 15. And you can see versatility, we actually have 322, but that only gives me 6%. So versatility is just a way more expensive stat to actually, put points into in case you want. So yeah. So this is the stats breakdown on what I would recommend with Enhancement Shaman. When it comes to dungeon builds, I actually have 4 of them that I will give you. On my Discord channel, there will be the export code for all the 4 builds I have. Basically, I have a meta dungeon build, a meta raid build, and an easy mode dungeon build and an easy mode raid build. The difference is that the meta builds I have, the 2 in the top here and the 2 in the bottom, is that the meta builds are using Totemic, which is currently the best meta spec that most people is recommending right now. And then what I say is the easy mode specs is the one where we use Stormbringer, because you don't rely on the surging totem that you keep summoning, and a lot of people just don't like having this totem in your rotation. They want more the nice floating way that Stormbringer has, which is pretty cool. So basically, the dungeon and raid build, the only difference between these 2 builds is that in the raid build we are using Flurry, which increases your attack speed by 50%, increase your attack speed for 50% for your next 3 melee swings after dealing a critical strike with a spell or ability. And also we have Storm Flurry. Storm Strike has a 20% chance to strike the target an additional time for 40% of the normal damage. This effect can chain off itself, which is pretty cool. So 2 things that can help increase your single target damage, which we use in the raid. But then in the dungeon build we are using, you can see spells like this one here, Fire Nova, where Voltic Blaze generates 2 additional Maelstrom weapon and has 30% chance to cause Fire Nova, and Fire Nova is like an explosion. And then we also use this one here where Chain Lightning actually jumps to 2 additional targets and deal 10% increased damage. So that's like the difference between the raid dungeon build and the raid build. I have done a little bit of change at the left side as well. Also, for example, in the dungeon build, we are using 2 stacks of static charge, which you can see here is removing, because static charge is nice to have, like it reduces the cooldown of Capacity Totem, which is pretty cool in dungeons. But in raid, you don't need that to have a lower cooldown on that one. So in raids, we're removing these 2 points, and then give Mana Spring, which is helping your healers getting mana, and also we have elemental resistance, which makes your healing stream totem also give like resistance to everyone. The easy builds I have down here is basically just Stormbringer, and it's Stormbringer, and everything on the left side is pretty much the same as we had before. but it now uses like other talents over here. For example, you can see it doesn't take the full Storm Unleashed because and that's just not the meta right now with Stormbringer. You have way more efficiency with having like a lot of these points down here, like Lightning Strikes, Thunder Capitator, and so on. You can also see the difference in the Stormbringer build is that we actually utilize Ascendance, which is pretty cool. One of the difference is that when you use, for example, Totemic, then you only have Doom Winds, which has a cooldown on 1 minute. But in the Stormbringer build, you're using Ascendance, which replaces Doom Winds, that has a 2-minute cooldown. So you kind of have to get used to that in the Stormbringer build, you use a 2-minute cooldown, where the other build you only use a 1-minute cooldown. But again, the meta is right now Totemic, so that's why I have the 2 first builds, and then we have the easy mode builds, which is the Stormbringer. Me personally, if I wanted to have a casual evening and just play and have fun, I would probably go with the Stormbringer builds. But if I go to Mythic Dungeons or raids on a higher difficulty, I would probably use the meta builds, just to, you know, squeeze out that extra little damage. So, but you'll find all the builds on my Discord, so feel free to jump over there and, you know, go through the builds. So when it comes to rotation, let me quickly explain how to use the single button assistant in the best way together with the Enhancement Shaman. First of all, you would be in need to buff. So you would have to click on Sky Fury, which is going to give you the Sky Fury buff that increases your mastery and gives you an auto attacks have a 20% chance to instantly strike again. Then also use Lightning Shield. Lightning Shield is going to apply both Lightning Shield, Earth Shield, and both your weapon enchants. So Flame Tongue and Wind Fury. Very importantly, you don't have to use all the other buffs because Lightning Shield is automatically doing that for you, which is pretty cool. Then, if you are in a group where you have a tank or a healer, then use Earth Shield on them because you can have an Earth Shield active on yourself and even a tank, which is pretty cool. Then, we're ready for combat. So what you basically do is you're going to start with pressing 1 and it will use Surging Totem, as you can see there. After that, it will be using Vortex Blaze, which is going to spread a Flame Shock to all the targets. And now you're just going to be spamming 1. It's automatically going to be using Sundering. It's going to be using all your spells like Primordial Frost, like everything in your rotation it's going to use. It automatically knows when to do single target and multiple targets. So for example, if it was a single target, it wouldn't use Crash Lightning. But since it is multiple targets right now in front of me, it is going to use Crash Lightning. So it will automatically adapt till if you actually do single target rotation or multiple target rotation. Then, when it is time to burst, remember in the meta build we have Doom Winds, which only has 1 minute cooldown. So I would highly recommend just keep using it because Doom Winds is insane. It unleashes the devastating storm around you, dealing 4,000 storm strike damage every second for the enemies for 10 seconds. It increases your chance to activate Wind Fury weapons by 100% and the damage of Wind Fury weapons by 20. So basically, whenever you're about to don't use it like at the start of a boss pulling like a group. When he actually has the group together and you're ready to really do damage now, then use your Doom Winds and boom, spam your single button rotation and you're gonna be dealing big damage. And it's gonna feel fun. Like it's really fun and good. So that is the rotation. Basically, that is the entire rotation. If you don't use the meta builds that I have, but uses the easy mode builds, then the only difference is that we're not gonna have this Surging Totem, the Surging Totem. The reason for why I have Surging Totem above my single button is because then I can use it again, the spell itself, and it will move to where we are standing. I also have Totemic Projection, so I can move it. So that basically means I can move it one time by clicking on the Totem spell itself, and I can move it again by using Totemic Projection. But you can see why people don't like this build, because you kind of have to move this totem with you to deal the most damage, which can be annoying, and that is why we have the meta builds, which is using it, and we also have the easy mode builds, which don't use it. So yeah, it's up to you. So as you can see, we are now in the easy mode build for the dungeons, where we don't have those, we don't have the totem build, we don't have the totem projection. We basically just have our single button system and Ascendance, which is pretty nice. We're going to be using our single button system, and then whenever it's bursting time, we can use Ascendance. Just remember, Ascendance has a 2-minute cooldown, so it's going to take you way more time before your bursting cooldown is ready. So another really strong cooldown, which is like an upgraded version of Doom Winds and does way more things. But yeah, it's just to let you know that this is basically the difference between the meta build and this easy mode build. That in the easy mode build, you don't have to worry about that totem you have to move with you and so on. So yeah, but just keep in mind, if you play the meta build, you need to have this totem and you need to move it with you. So if you use the totem here and the group goes over there, it's important you move it with you with 2 of the spells to move it. All right. As tradition, we're going to talk about the other spells we have down here from the normal rotation that we just talked about. Of course, we have Doom Winds, which is your burst spell. Also, in the easy build, you are using Ascendance instead, which is another burst build that you would have to use yourself here. It's not going to automatically use for it, so you have to do it yourself. And trust me, that's the best thing, because then you can actually control when it's about to do a lot of damage. Then we also have Healing Surge, which is your strongest healing spell. This spell here is insane and can keep you up a lot. You can do a lot of solo content because every time, as an Enhancement Shaman, whenever you use your spells and attack, you will get these Maelstrom stacks. When you actually use these Maelstrom stacks, you can, for example, turn a lightning ball into an instant lightning ball, and also it will deal and increase the damage by 200%. So you can see here now, hold on, give me 2 seconds. It's going to use Chain Lightning in a second. Come on. Chain Lightning. There we go. Now it's going to use Chain Lightning. Boom. Instantly, and it deals 200% more damage. When that happens, then you get 20 stacks of this thing here called Overflowing Maelstrom, which is now increasing the healing on your Healing Surge. And it's also, what you can see here, by 100%, and it also reduces the time. So every time it casts this Lightning Ball or Chain Lightning with the Maelstroms to make it instant, then your next healing is also instant. So it's a very nice thing. Actually, it's stacked double, so I got twice. So it's very nice to know that every time you're using your rotation and it uses the Maelstrom to deal damage, instant cast, Lightning Ball or Chain Lightning, then you can use your Healing Surge instant after that, which is very, very important to keep yourself up. Then we have Feral Launch, which is basically your charge spell to get close to monsters. So if you have to, go from there to over there. Then we have Wind Shear, which is very important. You use it if you're running dungeons, like Mythic Plus dungeons with this build here. It's very important every time the mobs, they cast spells, you can interrupt them with Wind Shear. Very important. It can basically make your entire team die if people, they don't interrupt. So very important. Then we have Ghost Wolf, just it's kind of like the travel form for the druid. It makes you run fast, so you can go in and out of combat in case you want to do that. Then a Spirit Walk just increases your movement speed by 60%. Very nice spell. Astral Shift reduces all damage you take by 40% for 12 seconds. Very nice as well. Windrush Totem makes all your party members run faster in this area here. Very nice in bosses where you get push mechanics. Then we have Earth Elemental. Earth Elemental is not a damage spell. A lot of people think it's a damage spell. It's not. Earth Elemental basically increases your survivability. Calls forth a great elemental to protect you, increase your maximum health by 15% for 30 seconds. Also, so you can see your Earth Elemental no longer taunts nerfy enemies or generates threat, instead increase your maximum health. So we are taking this talent here, so it's not works as a tank anymore, but it just increases our HP. Of course, if you want to do solo content, leveling and stuff like that, you could probably remove this talent here, so it actually becomes a tank again, and then you could put it in somewhere, but still, it's a very nice talent because it basically just increases your HP. Of course, it does a little bit damage, but it's not much. Then we have Capacitator Totem. In case these mobs here are all casting spells, or you can see the tank is about to die, then you can use your Capacitator Totem. It will charge and stun them all, which is very nice. It basically gives your tank and a healer a 2 to 3 second break, so they can both get ready for the next fight or so on. But it's really, really cool. Beside of that, we have Sky Fury, which is an important buff you use every time. We have Lightning Shield, which is going to apply 4 buffs to you, so important you also use that. Then we have Earth Shield. The only reason I have that is because then you can cast it on the tank, for example, because you can have 2 Earth Shield active at the same time, one on you, one on the tank. Then we have Chain Heal, in case, you don't want to remove it because then you can't get Earth Shield. So it's just like a filler spell. You don't have to use it, but it's there. And then we have Healing Stream Totem. You're not really going to find an Enhancement Shaman who has Healing Stream Totem, but I don't like Earth Grip Totem. I don't like Clean Spirit, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go with a Healing Stream Totem. So it's a nice little spell that, it only has a 25-second cooldown, and it's up for 18 seconds, so you can almost have it up 100% of the time. And it's a one button. You click on it, and it will just heal everyone in your party all the time. So in case you remember, just pop it all the time. Pop it all the time. Use Healing Stream Totem, and it's just helping your healer or yourself to stay alive. Last spell is Bloodlust. It's a spell that gives everyone in the party 30% haste, and it has a 10-minute cooldown. Well, the cooldown itself of the spell is 5 minutes, but you get a debuff that is only gone like after 10 minutes. So yeah, but usually people, they want you to use it on the last boss or a boss that has a very DPS time, you know, like phase. For example, like the new raid, March of Cold and Ass, where, for example, the Phoenix here has a phase where it becomes an egg, and then it's very important you burst this egg down before it becomes a phoenix again. This is where you would, for example, use Bloodlust. But people usually tell you when to use it. That's all the spells. Let's do a quick dungeon preview. I'm just going to show you how I would do in a big pool in a dungeon. So let's go to that. So when we're about to do a big pull, I'm going to help the tank, just, you know, get in the few last mobs here. Of course, they're going to start doing more damage than me since they're already starting. But I'm going to quickly just pull them all. Now we're going to find a mob that we know is going to stay alive. We're going to use the searching totem here. Voltic Blaze, which is going to give a debuff. Now I'm going to use my bursting cooldown. And now we just spam one, and you can see the damage here goes crazy. 120k DPS. Remember, my gear isn't that good, but still you can see compared to the helpers that I have. The helpers is usually scaling up to you, like, you know, playing as good as you. So still, it's pretty good damage. You can see like how fast we just bursted up. And you can see how easy the rotation was. I basically just like gathered all the mobs together from the tank. Then we used first like 2 times single button to create the debuff on all of them with Voltic Blaze. Also creating the totem, and then we used Doom Winds, and then spamming the single button rotation. Easy peasy. And that's basically it. And then of course in the rotation part of the video I explained how to, you know, do the rotation and so on, like all the other spells. So I mean, that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed this little fast Enhancement Shaman guide on how to use Enhancement Shaman together with the single button assistant. Remember, all the export codes of the talents and my UI is on my Discord server. The link is in the description. And over there, all my 30+ specs are waiting for you. I'm trying a little new format for my videos in case you made it this long for the video. Usually my guides are between 30 to 40 minutes, and I'm trying to see if I can push them down a little bit faster, also so it doesn't take that much time for me to produce them. It's a bit long time since I actually made my last guide, because I have to admit, I was a little bit burnt out because I was pushing so much content out. So I'm trying to see if I can do a little shorter format, just also to help me myself mentally, I guess. So I'm still here. I still enjoy World of Warcraft. I still play a lot. I do a lot of player versus player PvP. Right now I'm kind of like gearing up a Holy Priest in PvP, which sadly doesn't use single button, but I still like the class and spec. But yeah, thank you so much for the support, everyone. Really appreciate you all for being part of my Discord, my YouTube, my Twitch streams. I stream every Wednesday and Friday in case you want to come by and say hi. And really appreciate you all, my YouTube members, also for supporting the channel directly. Thank you all so much, and well, I'll see you in the next guide. Peace out.